you're about to hear is the fusion of entertainment and enlightenment.
Monday morning I am in a fog, feel like a dog, can't find my other boot. Tuesday they done cut my power off, this week, oh Lord.
It's only halfway through, and Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm sitting right Friday night, right down on here for the weekend. I'm ready like a dog, ready for the weekend. When we go home, and I'll turn with them white trail and the line birds and old party bar. Get in, jump on my ride, ready for the weekend. I'm ready for the weekend. Morning, morning, I am in that phone, 'cause I missed it when I got my phone bill still due. Tuesday morning, the mall bill shook me off. This week's only halfway through. Then Wednesday, Thursday, so but then I'm Friday night, right there, I'm ready for the weekend. I don't like a dog, ready for the weekend. Alright. Just like a dog.
I'm ready for the weekend. Get loud, ready for the weekend. I'm gonna make my neighbors proud. I'm ready for the weekend.
Hey, welcome to the Weekend Kickoff Show. Appreciate you being here. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it officially to the weekend, and I gotta say, today's show, we have some new intros, and it looks like there was a little bit of a lag on the video side. It could be one right now, because due to the CPU on the computer. But anyhow, again, we are live. That's the fun of being live on YouTube. We have so much cruise news to get to if you're here for that. But if you're here just to have a great time, trust me, you are going to have an awesome time today for sure. Again, hopefully you enjoyed the new intro slide thing for the first few minutes there. I'm trying to do something new instead of just showing thumbnails. But again, yes, we're going to have a great show today. So much news to get to. Plus, we have a guest coming up, not on today's episode of the show, but another one very soon. So, but without further ado, let's go say hello to the people in the chat. If you guys haven't said hey already in the chat, hello, whatever, I would greatly appreciate you guys do that so I can go shout you out, because when YouTube does the live show with the participants list, you have to say hey in the chat to it acknowledge you. So let's see. First in the chat box today was a cruise ship time. Welcome in the chat. Good to have you in here. Sherry Awesome Sunsets Travel. Sherry, as always, pleasure to have you in here. Second in the chat was let's see, Cruise Pulse. So Cruise Pulse, welcome in the chat. Good to have you in here. The Q's Cruisers, good to have you in here. Sarah, good to have you in here. Sailing Away with T and K. Good to have you in here. Scratching PPA, good to have you in here. And the Down Under Cruisers, again, all of you, great to have you in here. Definitely means a lot. But again, today we have literally so much news to get to. This morning I woke up, because every morning I try to check for the cruise news. And yeah, this week was none different. Of course, I checked the cruise news, but there was a whole lot of news. Let's see what we got here in my show prep. But before we get to the cruise news, we got to do if you guys haven't already checked out my new video, which this is a plug right here. If you guys haven't come already and checked out my new video, how to be a better content creator, is on YouTube. So go check it out. It is how to be a quote-unquote pro travel vlogger in 2020. You should definitely go check it out. And that tip I show, in that video, I should say, I show a lot of tips of how to be a better YouTuber. That's for sure. Hey, Sean says there's a lot of people with wrenches. LOL. Yes, Sean. You know we got to keep the chat nice and safe. Matter of fact, if we don't have wrenches in the chat could be a Wild West ghost town. But it's all good though. we're going to, without further ado, sail into our first cruise news story of the day, which, if you guys did not know, it is that Princess Cruise Line officially announced that they have, on Friday morning, that they have canceled all sailings basically through March 31st, 2021. Yeah, so again, if you're missing it, you just missed the news. Today, basically, Princess Cruise Line did come out and announced that they canceled all sailings through March 31st, 2021. But at the same time, if you have to look at the positive, in that meanwhile, that time period, of March 31st and January, they could, in theory, do their test cruises for the simulated voyages to get them for the green light from the Center of Disease Control. But again, another interesting part again with our test sailings is that none of their ships, or basically any ships in the Carnival Corporation, have a green light from the CDC under their crew disembarkation through basically commercial travel. They haven't got a green light, which we're going to get into that later in the episode of the show. I think I have that later down in the show prep. That is pretty interesting that none of the ships in the Carnival Corporation, that basically includes Princess, Holland America, P&O, which doesn't sail from the U.S., but Carnival, again, Princess, as I mentioned, Holland America, a whole bunch of other cruise lines, forgetting what ones, the Carnival Corporation, but anyway, they have none of their ships, out of all somewhat 50 ships that sail out of the U.S. waters, have not gotten a single green light from the CDC under their list. But, on the other hand, they have some time to get these ships giving the green light from the CDC. But of course, we have some news all over there with the Carnival Corporation. They have the Carnival Breeze and the Carnival Horizon, those two ships. Again, you see there the Carnival Horizon. It is making her inaugural call to Miami since the shutdown has begun. And I believe sometime on Monday, will be her first call in the port of Miami. Again, she doesn't have the green light for the CDC, so she's just doing basically a port call to fuel up the ship with supplies, as she hasn't been to the U.S. waters, but she sadly can't repatriate crew in the U.S. as she does not have the green light from the CDC under their commercial travel program, which is very confusing to keep in contact with all this cruise news. But moving on down the line with cruise news, basically again, speaking of the Carnival Corporation, this basically the news that it would come to the Port of Miami also came as, again, the Carnival Corporation did cancel more cruises, as it says it was working to build and implement its plan to meet the requirements of the frameworks for the resumption of cruising operations issued on October the 30th, of course, 2020 by the U.S. Center of Disease Control Prevention. Well, another thing in cruise news, if you missed it already, before we get to your comments already, remember last week's show, which was on Sunday's show, I was talking to you about Bahama Paradise, the cruise line that owns two former Carnival ships. Well, as I mentioned, the Grand Celebration, you see that ship right there, again, I reported that it was on its way all the way over there to the scrapyard. Again, when that happened, when the ship first went to the scrapyard, it wasn't... Again, it wasn't confirmed by the corporation, by Carnival. They didn't, not Carnival, but Bahama Paradise. They didn't come out and confirm that the ship was being sold. But a few days later, Carnival, they couldn't hide behind the fact that that ship was sold. So Bahama Paradise did come out and, of course, cancel. They haven't come on publicly. This is the weird part about Bahama Paradise. They haven't come out and publicly canceled all sailings on that ship, but they did basically come out and confirm, yes, we sold the Grand Celebration. But after this, that's basically all they said. They didn't say anything else with the ship being scrapped or possibly sold. They didn't say anything like that. But however, I did read something interesting by one of the people who, of course, one of the major news networks for the cruise industry, which is Sea Trade News. Pretty good source for cruise news. But one of their things in their article about of course, this was the biggest headline this week about the Grand Celebration, of course, being sold. They did not, out of the whole entire thing, mention in the article, but what basically they did mention in the article, but they didn't in the article. This is tough, confusing to say, but basically they didn't say in the article that the ship was being scrapped, and the cruise line hasn't come out and said that. But at the same time, again, the cruise line hasn't come out and with the ship being scrapped, some sources in the industry have come out and said that the ship may not be scrapped. But at the same time, why is it going to India? Possibility to be scrapped. Anyway, that was tricky to say, but we're going to sail on to another story. But before I do that, we have some things in the chat that, first of all, I want to say hey to JNN Travels, Jonathan from the Six Traveling Shorts, and I think everyone else is in. I think everyone else has said hey already. But we want to read some of your questions. He says, Sean says, I've seen Virgin Voyages is starting sailings on 1/3/2021. Yes, which is interesting. Not interesting about Virgin Voyages for the people. I was reading today from, I believe, don't know what article it was, but basically the port of Nassau, which if you guys don't know, NASA is in a huge multi-million-dollar project to renovate the whole entire port. But now it appears Virgin Voyages is looking to stop at Nassau now, so that's some more news from Virgin Voyages. But basically another thing, Sailwave TNK says, so since Princess and Holland America canceled all sailings over 7 days, do you see other cruise lines doing the same thing? That's a tough call, and I believe, I'm not sure though, I do follow again Royal Caribbean, the fan message pages. I don't believe, but I do believe Royal Caribbean, I'm gonna go check on the website right now, but I'm not 100% sure, but I do think Royal Caribbean did remove all sailings over 7 nights from their webpage. I'm gonna check that actually right now. But yes, I do definitely see cruise lines coming out later in the year. Again, they will want to get those money from the bookings, but I do see them coming out and canceling all of sailings from the U.S. waters, of course, over 7 nights over time. Not going to be rapid again with cancellations, especially with the bigger cruise lines, especially with Royal Caribbean stuff. I don't think, unlike Princess and Holland America, that they're going to be canceling sailings till March. I personally think it's going to be probably going to be canceling sailings. Let's just say every other month, like, you know, every month they're going to extend the pause operations, just so if they, in theory, are able to start sailings again up earlier, they don't have to say that we're never mind, we are going to start sailing before that date of our pause operation. So it's interesting to say, but I do think that we are going to see, again, cancellations of cruises over 7 nights and month-by-month cancellations for the other cruise lines, especially Royal Caribbean right now. Because the CEO, when he did do his weekly meeting, which is also in the cruise news today, he did not come out and say, basically give us much information of what ships will be resuming sailings. But, again, as I mentioned in the cruise news, you know, that the green light from the CDC, that whole process right there with the color coding of ships, which basically means there's restrictive measures on cruise. Basically, the only thing the red, green, and yellow light goes for is through this crew when they're on the ship. So, for example, if the ship's in a green light, from Quark's reading here from the CDC's website, basically the crew are required to basically required to eliminate all self-serving dining venues on board for the ship and crew, not encourage handshaking or basically for the cruise lines to encourage non-contact meetings of greetings for the crew, promote respiratory and hand hygiene with the crew, place hand sanitizers all around the ship, which that's required. Again, this is all from the CDC. When the ship turns into the green light, these are the rules the CDC they have to follow from the CDC. And then basically another thing they have to do for the crew when the ship turns into the green light, they have to required to place basically CDC posters all around the whole entire ship, which I thought was interesting. But if the ship does turn into the green light, the CDC is, recommends that all crew wear a cloth face covering, but again, recommended, not forced. Basically, it's also recommended from the green light from the CDC that they implement social distancing of crew members, and the last recommendation is basically to remove all crew to single occupancy cabins with private bathrooms. Again, those were all the things under the green light from the CDC website. I'm going to go actually see if I can drop this in the chat. I'm going to drop the link if you want to go check it out yourself. That basically lists what ships are in the green lights from the CDC, what lists are in the red lights from the CDC. So definitely you can go check it out. I'm going to drop the link right there in the chat. It's a long link, but I just dropped it there. You should be able to go click that and check it out for yourself. But Daniel Fields in the house. Daniel, good to have you in here. He says, hello all. They did cancel my Princess April 24th cruise. Yes, that's super. Again, sad to see, Daniel, but I believe if your cruise is April 24th, so that means your cruise is probably over 8 nights. So sad to see, but same time, again, these cancellations, people will say the last when they lifted the no sailor that they were going to end the cancellations, but again, as I said, when they did the cancellations, I said those weren't going to be the last, and I was right about that. Ray and Sue's Travel Channel, good to have you in here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Appreciate you being here. And Sean McCorsey pops in. He says, NCL canceled all sailings over 7 days in the first few months in 2021. I lost my Panama Canal cruise in January 2020. Don's family group cruise apparently has a Panama group cruise in Princess, and I think February and April. So I think we're saying that Don from Don's Family Vacations, he lost his group cruise, which is, again, sad to see that these channels, if they did lose their group cruise. Yeah, sadly, with these cancellations, that basically happens. And then Daniel has a clarification. He says, not over 8 nights, standard 7-day, April 24th out of Los Angeles cruise. So Daniel, if you did lose your cruise, well, these times are tough for the industry, and it's definitely a shame to hear people's cruises being lost for now. But again, as earlier in the show, I was mentioning the story with Bahama Paradise Cruise Line. They had some cancellations today. Well, not really any formal cancellations, but they had a ship being scrapped, so we had some informal cancellations. And we're going to read here a post actually written on what these are what the cruisers are saying about these cancellations right here. Basically, good grief, this is not good. The company is bleeding money. Again, they're referring to Bahama Paradise Cruise Line. The other ship, which I'm not sure what ship they're referring to, should have opened up to have day casino cruises and when in West Palm Beach serve as a hotel/entertainment complex. The no sailor policy is absolutely ridiculous and killing a major industry. Again, those were some of the cruisers reacting to the, of course, Bahama Paradise possibly going bankrupt. But in the chat now is Blaine from Really Creative Travel. Blaine, good to have you in here. Thank you again so much for stopping by for today's episode of the Weekend Kickoff Show. We're actually getting through the show so much right now, so we're super good to hear how fast we are getting through the entire show today. But again, if you haven't heard the news in the cruise news, again, what we're speaking about is, of course, these ships going, of course, the Celebration being scrapped. We also talked about Princess cancelizations, but ships are moving around, as I was mentioning. And speaking of that, the Disney Wonder is sailing to Port Canaveral, fresh off of a dry dock in France, and just made a technical stop all the way over there, I believe, in the Canary Islands, according to a statement from the port. And also, this wasn't actually confirmed by any of the media outlet, as the registration on Maritime Mapper is PC, but as me, who sails out of Port Canaveral a lot, it is confirmed that the Disney Wonder and Fantasy are coming back to Port Canaveral. And speaking of that, who knows, when they come back to Port Canaveral, I may be going back and seeing some nice ship spotting vlogs and maybe a terminal update again. We simply don't know, but let me know down in the comments below if you want to see a ship spotting vlogs, because that's probably going to be doing a lot in the first quarter of 2021. Will be a lot of ship spotting vlogs, so we're definitely going to be doing that when it happens. Also, speaking of Port Canaveral, the Canaveral Port Authority and our local highway people, the Central Florida Expressway Authority, or CFX, has executives have made a agreement that basically allows E-Pass. So when you go to the new terminal in Port Canaveral, to basically have contactless payments for parking at Port Canaveral with basically a e-pass prepaid account. So basically, if you go to the Orlando airport, like they have here at the Orlando airport, if you drive your car, if you have an e-pass sticker, you drive right into the garage, you drive right out, you don't have to put any money in, you don't have to pay the attendant anything, simply contactless and mindless. You don't think about that when you're just driving into, of course, the new terminals there in Port Canaveral. And I believe, I'm not exactly 100% sure, but it does appear that this may roll out to the other terminals in Port Canaveral, which I think would be pretty cool. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and in the live chat. Of course, if you're watching this on replay, let me know down in the comments below. Again, would like to hear your opinions on. Let's check up with the catch. It is, again, according to Rain Sue's Travel Channel, it says, Tyler, it is inevitable that more cruises even get canceled. Even though test cruises where there will be COVID outbreaks, it will cause more delays. Sorry, folks, just to see how it's playing out. Yes, definitely do see that. Again, with some of these test cruises, I do see, again, a worst case scenario that there will be outbreaks on board. Hope not, but hey. Travel with Nick is in the house. Nick, good to have you in here, my friend. Again, if you haven't checked out Travel with Nick, check him out. And speaking of creators, we're going to, later in the episode of the show, again, have our creator of the week, which this week will be an absolutely great creator. Sherry says, yay, ship spotting in port vlogs. Yes, so good to see people are wanting these, again, ship spotting vlogs. That will be happening the following, hopefully, weeks. I'm hoping weeks, not months, but weeks. So we have some more cruise news to get to. Of them are going to roll into our major point of today's episode of the show, which is the news from Royal Caribbean. As you know, last week, the Royal Caribbean Group has officially opened up test cruises on the webpage and with their Facebook forums. And they have over 100,000 volunteers, which is just pretty crazy. But at the same time, Royal Caribbean has not answered these 6 questions that are most asked questions from cruisers. And again, these questions have been on cruisers' mind a whole lot in the past few months. And here's a quick video I made telling you what are these 6 questions. Well, there's plenty of uncertainty going around, especially with Royal Caribbean cruises and their restart plans. But besides when cruising might resume, there are some questions cruise fans have been asking for a while without any clear answers, and I'm going to share with you some of them. The first one was, what are the new rules that are going to be implemented for North American and European sailings, especially with Royal Caribbean? Here's the deal, we know what the ones are going to be for Singapore, but will the ones from North America and Europe be any different? Also, another question we were asked was, simply put, how will Royal Caribbean select out of the 100,000 volunteers for those test cruises? How will they do that? And another question was asked is, what is the status of delayed ship upgrades? What is the status? That's another question they were asked. But another one of the biggest questions is, which ship will be the one to sail first? Will it be the Mariner or will it be the Navigator? Again, Royal Caribbean has not come down and said any of that, but our last question is, will the future cruise credits be extended? Will they be extended? That's another one of the big questions. But the last one that's most important to any cruise vacation, will the cruises still be as fun and safely changing to the cruises? Anyway, those are the 6 questions that are on cruisers' minds. I want to know, what are you wondering about, especially if Royal Caribbean or Carnival? Let me know down in the live chat right now. And of course, right there, that is basically 6 bad static sounds on the video. Oh no, okay guys, sorry for that on that video. I'll have to go fix that. Once again, I deeply apologize if there was bad sounds on that video. Sometimes the editing software will put out that bad sound on the video, so I do want to deeply apologize for that. Again, I'm sorry about that glitch with that video. I had that actually same problem with another video on my second channel. I was doing the cruise news video and the sounds went bye-bye. So once again, I deeply apologize with that sound. Please, again, I deeply accept my apology for that sounds. But well, if you didn't hear the 6 questions, I'm going to go actually read those questions to you because I did write it down here on the computer somewhere. So let me go find those questions. Again, these are the 6 questions that are on the cruiser's mind. So again, some of these questions actually add no surprise to me, but basically the first question is what are going to be the new rules for cruises in North America and Europe? So again, with Royal Caribbean, because as you all know, Royal Caribbean is restarting cruising out of Singapore, but will the rules and regulations on board these sailings be different than Singapore? Again, we don't have no clues. So that is one of the first questions to be answered. The second one is, how in the world will Royal Caribbean select volunteers for their test cruises? Again, they have 100,000 volunteers. So I don't know how they're going to select them. That's the question. I guess question number 2 is, oh my goodness, how in the world will they select volunteers? A second one, the third one, which is important, is what is the status of delays with their ship upgrades, and of course the new private islands. What are the delays? That's another question for Royal Caribbean. We're not quite sure. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are reading currently the 6 questions that I had for a video in the show, but it didn't actually air with the audio technical difficulties. So I'm reading to you of them right now, which again the fourth question actually right now, which is, which ship will be the first to sail? Will it be the Navigator, or will it be the Mariner, or will it be an Oasis class ship? Again, none of these questions have been confirmed just yet, so we are waiting to see. Another question out of the 6 is, will future cruise credits be extended? Will they be extended? That's an interesting question, and simply who put, we don't know. Again, will they basically be extended past 2021? We simply don't know. But one of the last ones, which is I personally think the most important one, is, will the cruise experience still be fun? That is the question. Again, those are the 6 questions put by RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. So let me know your thoughts on these 6 questions. Again, just to recap it, we have rules. What's the questions again about rules? Questions about mask. Question about fun on ships, and basically questions about cruise credits. Those were some of the questions. Again, simply to recap that whole 6 questions with Royal Caribbean International. And we have one more story with cruise news. Speaking of Royal Caribbean International, actually this ship right here, before I move into trivia today, we have this ship right here. Let's see if I can go find it. Actually, yeah, here it is. This ship right here, the Mariner of the Seas, my second favorite ship, if you were wondering. She will be doing a set of 8-night Bermuda cruises from Florida in 2022, which includes a basically overnight stays in Bermuda, and also it has basically, again, stops at Perfect Day 2. So you go Bermuda and Coco Key, which is I think pretty cool. Again, this is basically the first time this has been offered in basically recent memory of the company. And then before you go to Perfect Day, you're going to go to Nassau, Bahamas for a late night stay there. So definitely interesting to see. Again, that was the last story, which was Royal Caribbean with their cruises to Bermuda from Florida on board Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas. So definitely interesting to see. And speaking of that, that's it for the cruise news segment. That one was a long one, but we got through the cruise news. Coming up next, though, we're going to take a quick break, and we're coming up next as we got the Creator of the Week. So you don't want to miss this. Take a quick break, though. Come back with the Creator of the Week. Your number one source for all things travel. This is The Tyler Show.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sail away, sail away.
Alrighty, we are back, everybody. Appreciate you staying through that quick break. And now it's time for the one of your favorite segments here on the Weekend Kickoff Show, which is the Creator of the Week. Basically, where I go and pick one of the creators that, if you drop your hashtag creator in the chat, which I want you to do now, you can either drop the hashtag creator or hashtag supporter in the chat. And people, if you guys haven't connected already, definitely go connect. So feel free to drop your hashtag creators or hashtag supporters right now. But this week's Creator of the Week goes to J&N Travels. Again, John and Nancy from J&N Travels. If you haven't checked out their channel already, they're one of the biggest supporters here in the cruising community. and one of my biggest supporters, so they're fitting for them to get this week's Creator of the Week segment. So again, check them out already. But before we get to your creator hashtags, time to go all the way back. Speaking of ship spotting, and we talked about ship spotting in our, basically talked about again ship spotting in our cruise news with the Disney Wonder. Time to go back to 2018 for the Mariner of the Seas first summer port call in Port Canaveral post amplification. So let's say we go all the way back into the throwback time machine. Let's get it.
Tonight we're running on the right track. I know we never gonna look back. Oh, I just wanna have a good time. Call me whatever, 'cause I'm up for anything like that. Oh no, we don't wanna do slow-mo, so tonight we just let go. To the beat in the street, every freak out singing like. You're told.
Your number one source for all things travel. This is The Tyler Show.
Sail away, sail away, sail away, sail away, sail away.
Alrighty, guys. So now it's time for your hashtag creators, but there was there was a technical difficulties with the encoder here on OBS, which are having some first problems today. But again, it wouldn't be a live show without technical difficulties. But now it's time for your hashtag creators. Again, if you just missed it, please drop your hashtag creator. If you are a hashtag creator or a hashtag supporter, you can drop those in the live chat. Let's see, our first hashtag creator was Sherry. Awesome Sunset Travel. Definitely check Sherry out. We also got Travel with Nick as a hashtag creator, and we also have Sail Away with T and K as a hashtag creator and supporter, and then Rain Sue's Travel Channel as a hashtag creator and hashtag supporter, and also we have the Down Under Cruisers as a hashtag creator on this episode of the show. So again, appreciate all of you being hashtag creators and hashtag supporters. It's always good to have fellow cruise creators. But we're going to be playing a game in just a moment. It looks like the show is still able to run with these technical difficulties again we're having with the encoder right now. But again, we just did a throwback video. If you just missed it, go back in the replay. Maybe a little buffering on some of the video parts because the software is doing things today. Hopefully next week when I have Emma from Emma Cruises on the show, it doesn't have this problem. But I'm hoping it's not. But again, we're speaking of Port Canaveral throwback sailaways. In the following weeks, we may be able to go to Port Canaveral and see the ship right there, the Disney Wonder, doing sailings out of Port Canaveral. So I'm looking forward to it. But we're going to actually do trivia in just a moment, which is going to be absolutely a blast. Of course, trivia, which will be super fun. But Jonathan from the Six Traveling Shorts is a creator, so go check the Six Traveling Shorts out. Absolutely a phenomenal channel. But now it's time for cruise trivia. I don't have an intro. I should have an intro, you know. Anyway, time for our first cruise trivia question of the day, which is, of course, we're going to do trivia. So if you would play it, just basically I'm going to read the questions to you and you would answer them. Certain ones you have to answer the name of this ship or name of this destination, name of this thing, or certain ones will be either, I'll tell you basically, some of them are true or false, so I got to figure some things out. Anyway, we're into our first question of the day, which is, of course, this ship right here, the cruise ship, the Black Moral, is owned by which cruise line? Again, the cruise ship Balmoral is owned by which cruise line? That's, again, your first trivia question. And yes, again, first question was, the cruise ship Balmoral is owned by which cruise line? See the answers in the chat again. I'm going to give you some time to answer the question in the chat. So again, hopefully you are enjoying this trivia so far. But again, we just got to our first question, which again was which cruise line owns the Balmoral? Which one does that? I hope I pronounced that one right. I don't think I am. I think I'm butchering that one. But anyway, let's see what the ones. Child of Nick says, not sure. Okay, not sure. We got a not sure. Let's see if anyone else gives time for other people to answer the questions. Actually, we're going to do it this way. We're going to go to the next question, and we're going to come back and see what ones, if you guys got that one right. Now, the next trivia question is, what is this thing on the Anthem of the Seas called? You see the arrow pointing to that thing? What is it? I can't be specific on this one. I gotta be blunt. So, what is the thing on the Anthem of the Seas that the arrow is pointing to? I know that question's pretty tough, but you know, what is that again thing that the arrow on this photo right here was pointing to? But now we have the questions from the last one in, and we actually got some right answers. We have Rain Sue Travel Channel saying Fred Olsen Cruise Line, which you would be correct. And same with Sherry Awesome Sunset Travel, Fred Olsen Cruise Line. You guys are right, so congratulations on those. But again, this question right now, which is the thing that the arrow is pointing to? What is it called? Again, this is the thing on the Anthem of the Seas that the arrow is pointing to. So we're going to wait and see if we got any questions or answers in the live chat. Again, playing trivia, so if you feel free to go ahead and answer those questions in the chat. Again, it is the object that the arrow is pointing to in the last trivia question. I know that one was a little confusing for me to put together, but I do hope you enjoyed that last trivia question nonetheless. So in the meanwhile, because I know this chat video is on a delay, right now actually we're going to go to the next question while the people are answering that one. And this one is, which cruise line used to own a cruise ship called the Sunward, Skyward, and Starward? Again, the question was, which cruise line used to own a cruise ship called the Sunward, Skyward, and Starward? Again, that was that question right there. Let's see if we got any answers. The last one in the chat. But Papa Mozo is in the house, and he's putting the hashtag creator. Definitely go check Papa Mozo out. He is actually coming up actually at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with his show, the Papa Mozo Friday Night Live. Definitely check it out. And we have a right question for the one with the again, we had a right question from Sherry, right answer I should say, for this one right here is the object, which is the North Star. That's what the arrow is pointing to. So that was the question right there, and that is your answer. And of course, Papa Mozo, he is the hashtag he is the hashtag Vlogfather, of course. As always, that's one of his legendary things. Anyway, Sherry says to repeat the question again, which is the Norwegian question right here. Which cruise line used to own ships called the Sunward, Skyward, and Starward? And that's the question right there. So think that's enough time to answer that one. Let's see if we got some questions in the chat. Now, this one actually stumped me, and I was actually surprised by this one. So I think not a lot of people will actually get this one right, because these are some pretty tough questions for even people for me, I know a lot of cruise information. So this one actually kind of shocked me. So see if anyone did it. And Rain Sue's Travel Channel, wow, you guys got that one right. Norwegian Caribbean line is correct. Congrats on that question. That one was a tough one, but again, Ray and Sue's Travel Channel, congrats on getting that question right, because that one was a tough one for sure. Again, Norwegian Caribbean Line is the correct answer for that question. Now, our next one, which is kind of like true or false, does the celebrity flora sail to the Galapagos? That's either true or false. Does the celebrity flora sail to the Galapagos? Again, the answer is either true or false for this question. So yes, again, if you guys do know, the Celebrity Flora is a custom-built ship for Celebrity Cruise Line. Guys don't know, Royal Caribbean Group have been getting in the hangs of building smaller ships for the, can't say the location, but because it's part of the trivia question, but they are building smaller ships for expedition cruise ships for expedition destinations. But now our answers are in, so I can reveal they are building a fleet of basically expedition cruise ships for the Galapagos. They have the Silver Origin 2, which sails to the Galapagos, but Travel of Nick says the answer is false, which actually the right answer for the Celebrity Flora, true or false, is true. The Celebrity Flora actually does indeed sail to the Galapagos year-round, but of course, due to this pandemic, it is not indeed sailing to the Galapagos. But it is all the way over there in the Galapagos getting ready to resume sailing, so who knows? Maybe Galapagos could be one of the first places for a celebrity to start sailing up again. We don't know. Could be, though. Anyway, sailing on to our next story right here, which is, what does this cruise ship belong to? Again, which cruise line does this cruise ship belong to? And the bonus point, if you can name the cruise ship. That's the bonus point, if you can. Again, the question is, which cruise line does this ship belong to? Let's see if we have any questions or answers in the chat. Let's see. Wait until we get a first one. And again, let's see if we have any answers or questions in the chat. See, we got Jane N Travels says Blintz NCL, and then Celebrity Edge. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you for this one. The Down Under Cruisers got that one right. It is Hurtigruten. I did, however, change the color of the bow to blue. So you know, I kind of disguised it so it wasn't as easy. But yes, that actually is Hurtigruten, one of their ships. Not the Celebrity Edge, if anyone was wondering. It is the Hurtigruten. I believe either, let's see if I can actually get the legit photo. Let's see if I can find that one. But again, yeah, it was the Hurtigruten ship. Again, the ship sails, I believe, out of Norway. And believe it or not, well, of course, due to the ships not being able to sail as much as frequently, Hurtigruten actually rented out the ship to Tom Cruise, and he used one of those ships to basically film a Mission Impossible movie on it. So while we're waiting for me to find that photo of the Hurtigruten ship without the blue paint job I put on there, again, it's pretty interesting that Hurtigruten, they did rent out that ship to Tom Cruise for his movie. But yes, as you can see there, that is the photo of the ship. It's the Ronald Norwegian, I think, Armstead or something like that. So I probably got that one wrong. Anyway, there it is. That one was the Hurtigruten. And then having Rain and Sue Travel Channel's clarification on this one. And first of all, I appreciate the clarifications again. Because again, I'm not exactly the best at announcing Norwegian things, but it's Hurtigruten. Okay, I think I pronounced it, but I'm sure I probably got that one wrong. But anyway, thank you for the clarification. I definitely do appreciate it. And our last question in trivia today, which I thought this one was a fitting one. This one's pretty simple, actually. I'm not going to tell you the answer because, of course, we're playing trivia. So anyway, what does mein Schiff mean in English? Again, what does mein Schiff mean in English? Again, just a clarification for that question, it is what does mein Schiff mean in English? And we got Ray and Sue's Travel Channel with it again. It is My Ship. You guys are correct. And that's pretty much it for general knowledge cruise trivia. Thank you, everyone, for playing along. Next week's show, there will, of course, be more trivia. And again, a programming reminder, next Sunday, not this week's Sunday, but next Sunday, we're going to have a very special guest on the show. We're going to be talking cruising again next Sunday, I believe on the 29th, I believe. Yes, the 29th, I believe. We're going to have a very special guest, Emma from Emma Cruises, on the show. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking all things cruising on, again, the 29th of November, so it should be a great interview. But before we do get there, again, we're going to close out the show. We have about 10 more minutes left of today's episode of the Weekend Kickoff Show. Again, we're actually going to play some more trivia here, so I just noticed I have some more trivia questions. This one's different. This is going to be fill-in-the-blank trivia. So we're going to fill in the blank here for our cruise trivia right now. So basically, there's going to be basically a photo here, and it's going to have a blank section, which will fill in the line. Basically, fill in the blank here with Royal Caribbean trivia. So let's see how we all do here. And first one here is what is a better place to take a dip and enjoy the afternoon than the Caribbean's largest freshwater pool, also known as Oasis blank pool. So basically, also known as Oasis blank question mark. So that's the question again. What better place to take a dip and enjoy the afternoon than the Caribbean's largest freshwater pool, also known as Oasis blank question mark? And Travel with Nick got that one right. It is Lagoon. Again, it is the Oasis Lagoon. Absolutely phenomenal pool. If you guys haven't already checked it out, if you guys go to CocoCay, definitely check it out. It's absolutely free. But again, the blank was Lagoon. Lagoon, that was your blank question. The blank answer should say. And moving on to our next one here in the game, which is a virtual world is waiting. Why not bounce by and explore? So just strap into the blank and let your imagination soar. Again, we're going to repeat that one more time. A virtual world is waiting, so why not bounce by and explore? Just strap into the blank and let your imagination soar. And we got a winner for this question. Travel with Nick was the first one to answer, and that is right. Skypad is the answer. I have personally done this experience, of course, all the way over there on the Mariner of the Seas. This experience is also offered on the Independence of the Seas and the Spectrum of the Seas, and it's definitely pretty fun to do. I definitely would recommend you do it at least once on your next Royal Caribbean cruise. Life is good today. Welcome in the house. Good to have you in here. Of course, good to have you here on the show. And moving on to our next fill-in-the-blank question. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a fill-in-the-blank game where we're speaking Royal Caribbean. So there'll be some photos on the side that also give you a little bit of a hint. So let's go on to question number 3 on our Royal Caribbean game, which is: the sky may be clear, but you've been warned because the blank and blank form the perfect storm. Again, the question is, the sky may be clear, but you've been warned because blank and blank form the perfect storm. Okay, so well, it looks like my mic was muted for the whole thing. I tell you, technology. Yes, sorry for that, guys. Anyway, Robert, good to have you in here. As I was saying, going to be a lot of great shows today. But again, our question that we just answered, which was, basically, the sky may be clear, but you've been warned, because it is the one, the only for that question right here. Where the answer is because the typhoon and cyclone form the perfect storm. That is the answer right here. So that's the answer. Moving on to our last one. See if we can get this done quickly. As you say, basically, can you fill in the blank for this one? Is you may think there's no greater luxury than lounging in your pajamas, but Cocoa Beach Club will prove you wrong with its floating blank. Again, the fill in the blank is, you maybe think there's no greater luxury than lounging in your pajamas, but Cocoa Beach Club will prove you wrong with its floating blank. And to fill in that one, since we have not a lot of time left in today's episode of the show, it is floating cabana. That is the word to fill in the blank one. We got one more left on today's episode of the show, and this is the Coco Key Water Park. Their water park delivers on an adventure that you seek, but only the bravest will take the blank feet down Daredevil's Peak. Again, that is the last question for today's episode of the show. So again, just to repeat itself, Thor Water Park delivers on an adventure that you seek, but only the bravest take the plunge, blank feet down Daredevil's Peak. And now, personally, I was not the bravest to go down Daredevil's Peak. I have not gone down that one yet, but when we go back to Perfect Day, hopefully next year, I'm not going to hint it anymore, but hopefully sometime then we will be doing the Daredevil's Peak, because I really do want to get on that. MGM Family Travel, good to have you in here, Bill. No worries for you being late, and absolutely no worries, but thank you so much for stopping by for just a few moments, even though we are ending out the show. And the answer is actually 135 feet for that fill in the blank, I believe, right there. Let's see, check that one out. And yes, the right answer is 135 feet, Daredevil's Peak, which it is 300 feet up in the sky, I believe. So I think 300 feet is right, I think. I'm not sure, but I think I'm right. Maybe. Anyway, Guys, again, anyway, guys, again, I appreciate you guys being here. There is no Sunday Funday show this week. Travel with Nick is doing his live show at 2 o'clock, I believe, Eastern Standard Time. So, again, if you guys want to go check Travel with Nick out, he's doing his show, filling in for me. Again, I think we're rotating every other week. So, again, check him out. He'll be live again this week at, 2 o'clock. So, with his show this Sunday. So, it should be a great time. If I'm not right, Nick, correct me in the chat. But, yeah, again, we'll be back here, though, next Friday with more of the Weekend Kickoff show, hopefully. And then next Sunday, we have, of course, Emma from Emma Cruises on as a special guest on Sunday Fun Day. We're going to be, of course, talking cruising with her, hopefully next Sunday for the live show. So again, if you guys haven't already, the chat and the stream is actually the link for the stream is of course live. So if you would go set your reminders. Again, Sunday at next Sunday the 29th, we're gonna have Emma from Emma Cruises on the show. It's going to be an absolute 110% of a blast. But again, appreciate everyone being here. It's almost 1 minute to go before the Papa Mozo show goes live. So appreciate everyone being here. Thank you to my moderators, of course, being in the chat. We have, of course, in the chat for today's moderators, we have Sailing Away with T and K, Travel with Nick. We also had the Down Under Cruisers, Jane and Travels. And let's see who else we have. Moderators to thank for being in the chat today. We also had the Q's Cruisers being in here, and of course myself, a Cruise Ship Time, guys. But again, there's going to be again a whole lot more coming on the channel in the past few weeks. I'm gonna have an update with, of course, season 3. Also, we may be doing something major in the works with the channel. I can't exactly say what it is just yet, but it's going to be massive. So guys, again, until the next time we're back here together again with another live stream or video, I am Tyler, and you are watching The Tyler Show. Have a great week. Stay safe. Have a great Thanksgiving.